You've been pretty selfish at this point your whole entire career. What have you done for a lot of fighters? This would be a powerful statement for you to join. So stop it. Stop running. Stop hiding. Stop being selfish. We need all the help we can get in making this union. Conor McGregor, that's the message.
Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed king of cringe and shameless self-promotion, dropped another bombshell on December 29, 2024. Taking to Instagram, he announced his next opponent, none other than Conor McGregor. Yes, Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer, believes he's on the verge of making sports history. In reality, he's pulling boxing's already fragile reputation deeper into the mud with yet another carnival-like spectacle.
Conor, you're saying the interest is low for the fight.
The interest is low and I don't know. I don't understand.
Let's pause for a moment to appreciate the sheer absurdity of this matchup. On one side, we have Jake Paul, a man whose boxing career thrives solely because people can't resist watching him embarrass himself.
Ducking of professional boxers. The next fight could potentially be a professional boxer. I'm just getting started. I'm 26 years old and there's only so much I can do.
A professional boxer? Really? This is the same guy who built an 11-1 record by knocking out a lineup of retired MMA fighters. Somehow, Jake Paul has managed to convince himself and, disturbingly, a portion of the public that he's a legitimate athlete. His crowning achievement, defeating Anderson Silva, a legend who was practically eligible for AARP membership at the time. And let's not forget his recent victory over 58-year-old Mike Tyson, who likely spent more time promoting his cannabis brand than preparing for the fight. Truly impressive, Jake, groundbreaking stuff.
In terms of like face-off views, this is, in my mind, the biggest fight the world will ever see.
They know that it's just like hard to handle for them because they've been like in the spotlight.
Now, enter Conor McGregor, once a UFC trailblazer, now more of a walking whiskey ad than a fighter. Sure, McGregor was a two-division UFC champion a lifetime ago. His career has been on life support since 2017, when Floyd Mayweather toyed with him for 10 rounds in a boxing ring before ending the charade. Since then, Conor's fighting career has been about as consistent as Jake Paul's humility, virtually non-existent. Between launching Proper 12 whiskey and posting thirst traps on Instagram, he's been more dedicated to selling booze than throwing punches. His last memorable moment in combat sports? Breaking his leg in 2021. And now, we're supposed to believe he's ready to waltz into a boxing ring and trade punches with the walking internet troll himself? Right. Let's call this fight what it really is, a money grab of epic proportions. While the media hypes it as the fight of the century, what they actually mean is the cash grab of the century. Reports suggest this spectacle could rake in a staggering $250 million, $250 million, for a YouTuber and a semi-retired MMA star to play make-believe for a few rounds. Forget skill. Forget legacy. Forget real competition. This is about who can stir up the most drama and sell the most pay-per-views. Boxing's new motto might as well be, why fight for glory when you can fight for clicks?
In insane shape.
Man, I wish Conor wasn't doing these types of things.
Let's not forget the puppet master behind this circus, Indian billionaire Anant Ambani, footing the bill as part of a tourism campaign to promote India. Because when you think visit India, the first thing that comes to mind is two rich guys flailing at each other in a packed stadium, right? The fight is set for Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium, a venue that holds 33,000 people but will really cater to millions of pay-per-view buyers, aka suckers. Then there's the pre-fight drama, which feels like a cringe-filled episode of a bad reality TV show. Jake Paul has been calling out McGregor for years, throwing tantrums and trolling him online like a spoiled kid denied dessert. From over-the-top trash talk to embarrassing videos, Jake's done everything short of showing up at McGregor's doorstep with a megaphone. And McGregor? Instead of ignoring Jake like the rest of the world should, he took the bait. Now we're stuck watching two grown men turn boxing into a sideshow act. This fight isn't about proving athletic skill or respecting the sport, it's about Jake Paul inflating his already overblown ego while cashing in on his insatiable need for attention. And McGregor? He's probably just relieved he doesn't have to face a hungry UFC contender who might actually punch him into next week. Instead, he gets a massive payday for sparring with a YouTuber who treats boxing gloves like fashion accessories. Jake Paul, of course, insists he's taking this fight seriously, because of course, he does. The man can't even post an Instagram story without bragging about how hard he's training, as if 15 seconds of speedbag footage erases years of being a glorified internet clown. Apparently, he's been back in training since early January 2025, focusing on speed and agility. Sounds good on paper, right? Except it's still Jake Paul we're talking about, the guy who thinks workout montages make him the next Muhammad Ali. Sure, he's got BJ Flores, a legit boxing coach, in his corner, but let's not get carried away. A decent trainer doesn't magically transform Jake into a skilled fighter. His real talent? Convincing people he's a legitimate athlete while carefully avoiding anyone who might actually expose him as a fraud. And then there's Conor McGregor, the man attempting a comeback that borders on miraculous after snapping his leg like a cheap pencil in 2021. Credit where it's due, McGregor knows how to grind. He spent years in rehab and is now trying to adapt his MMA skills to boxing rules. Admirable? Sure. But let's not overlook the obvious, his last serious attempt at boxing was way back in 2017. You remember, the fight where Floyd Mayweather toyed with him for 10 rounds before deciding to end the charade. McGregor has been out of the boxing ring for years, and while his determination is commendable, you have to wonder if his body can keep up with his ambitions. He's still got heart, no doubt, but the real question is, does he still have the legs to back it up? Physically, these two are an odd matchup. Jake Paul stands at 6 feet 1 inch and weighs around 190 pounds, giving him a clear size advantage. But let's not confuse size with skill. Jake's height and weight have helped him dominate retired MMA fighters and washed-up celebrities, not someone like McGregor, who's battled legitimate killers in the UFC. McGregor, at 5 feet 9 inches and around 170 pounds, may be smaller, but he's used to fighting opponents who actually know what they're doing. Jake's toughest opponent to date? A nearly 60-year-old Mike Tyson, who likely spent more time brainstorming cannabis products than training for punches. Let that sink in, then there are the betting odds. Jake Paul is actually favored to win at minus 175, with McGregor as the underdog at plus 155. Yes, you read that right, the YouTuber turned boxer is favored over Conor freaking McGregor. If that doesn't make you question the state of boxing, nothing will. Sure, Jake's younger and has the size advantage, but let's be real, his career has been built on hand-picked opponents who are either too old, too small, or too irrelevant to matter, and the so-called experts? Paulie Malignaggi, never shy about a hot take, claims Jake Paul might actually knock out McGregor. Yes, the same Jake Paul who built his career on prank videos is being hyped as a potential KO artist against one of MMA's most iconic fighters. If that doesn't make you cringe, nothing will. Meanwhile, former UFC champ Eddie Alvarez has pointed out the logistical nightmare McGregor faces just to make this fight happen. UFC contracts are notoriously airtight, and Dana White isn't exactly the type to let his fighters chase clout with a YouTuber. The fans? Divided, as always. Jake's fanboys are hyping this up as the moment he proves he's legit, while McGregor's loyalists are just hoping to see Jake eat a well-deserved slice of humble pie. And then there's the rest of us, rolling our eyes at what's clearly a glorified cash grab. Let's not kid ourselves, this fight isn't happening because it makes sense in any sporting context. It's happening because it's going to generate an obscene amount of money. This is the ultimate show. Jake Paul gets to stroke his ego while pretending to be a real fighter. McGregor gets a fat paycheck without risking another leg-snapping incident in the UFC. And the rest of us? We get to watch as boxing morphs further into a reality TV show. Whether Jake wins or McGregor pulls off a comeback, the only real winner here is the money. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about sport, it's about who can sell the most drama. And if there's one thing these two know, it's how to sell.
What do you think about Conor tweeting still at like 3 a.m. like coked out?
He sent shots at me and Ryan talking shit. It's crazy coming from Conor, who literally got out of the USADA pool to do legit steroids. And I was the biggest Conor fan for a long time. In the last couple weeks, ever since he sent that, I've been trying to hate him. I've been trying to be like, fuck you, Conor. I can't. I love Conor.